So, you know, my mom watches my channel, and I'm not gonna lie, we are on good terms. We talk, but we're not talking as much as we once did because we had a little bit of a disagreement um like last month. Now, I've been working pretty consistently on Saturday, and I have not been attending service, but the difference is I read the Bible daily. I try to understand the meaning of the Bible. And that's this same Bible that was given to the slaves by the slave master, the religion that was forced upon slaves to become better slaves. Yes, that religion, Christianity. I read the Bible because this is the only religion that I know. I'm not comfortable picking up anything else like Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism. I'm just not comfortable because Christianity is just embedded in me. But there are a lot of things that I don't agree with. And also you have to understand the difference between religion and God. I believe that God is a lot older than religions that we have today. God is a lot older. And let me just say this. Everything that I'm dealing with right now, I believe is from God. Science can't explain certain things that go good in your life. You know, it's evidence of everything that we have, but science can't explain, karma. Science can't explain, why certain people have good luck and bad luck. There are things that science just can't explain. That's why I just turn to God for things. And I believe God works for you if you follow the right instructions on living a good life. Like, for example, I don't do anything that's considered wicked anymore. I'm more of a clean person now. And that's very surprising with just a lot of things I used to look at. But it's just my bond with God. It's not really religion, it's my bond with God. Why I don't do certain things. Why I pray before meals. But the church, I can't get on board with a lot of the things they do. The church, I believe, is very ineffective. The black church I'm talking about, very ineffective. Me and my mother had a conversation about, the church, and it got really heated on the phone where we sort of didn't talk for a little bit. And I missed her graduation. I wasn't able to really get there, but, I didn't know if she was going to graduate or not. She finished college, but we had a heated conversation over the phone. And I just was like, let me let it cool off for a couple of days. Because it's like I meant what I said. And let me tell you why I meant what I said. I was telling her that the church is very ineffective because why is it that you can have a church on every block, but the surrounding areas, like everything encircled around that church is the opposite of the Bible, what the Bible preaches. So you can have a church on this corner, but there is a liquor store, a strip club, a crack house down the street. That just tells you the church isn't doing anything. Can you imagine in the 1500s or like during the time, let me ask you this. Do you think there were churches on every block in the city of Sodom and Gomorrah? Because if it was a church on every block there, they were doing a horrible job. If Sodom and Gomorrah is what it is. Hold up 1 second. Please stand by, people. I'm going to lay back. Hold up. All right, I'm going to lay down. Anyway, I just think that the church today is very ineffective. It has no purpose. So we had a little heated argument about that to the point where I was bringing up the fact that, there's a lot of problems with children being born out of wedlock. And my mother mentioned that during service they had like a child that was being baptized. It was a interracial couple. They had a baby and they were bringing it to the church, I guess, to bless the child. But I was telling her, for one, that's that one child, not the majority of what I'm talking about. It's like, because when people say that, I feel like they're not serious about the conversation. And I love my mother to death, but check this out. And I'm not putting nobody's business out there, but let me just say this. I found out like 2 weeks ago, maybe 3, that my brother, who's already a father, is a father of a illegitimate child. He had a child he didn't know about for 3 years. And from last I heard, that baby is in foster care because the mother is apparently a drug addict that didn't want the child or just couldn't take care of it or had the child taken away from social services. And let me just say this. We were talking about how the church is ineffective, how I thought the church is ineffective, and we got problems with children out of wedlock. And she brought up the fact that, there was a child that was the product of a marriage. But 2 weeks later, you tell me that my brother has a child out of wedlock, and it's actually from a non-black woman. Let me explain to you why that's a problem. For one, my brother grew up in a church with me. Well, he didn't grow up in a church, but he attended church. And obviously, it didn't really have a good effect on him if he has 2 children now out of wedlock. Because I don't talk to him at all. I reached out to him out of sympathy when he had his little medical incident. But that was based out of sympathy and just the person he was when I was younger, not today. But I reached out to him and I asked him, I said, you must be really stressed out by your child. And he just said, no, kids are a blessing. And now I'm not in contact with him now, but if I had the opportunity to ask him, which I wouldn't, but it's pretty obvious, 2 children now is a lot to deal with. Because I hate to tell him, but once you have more than 1 child, your life is practically over. As in, the things that you want to do, they aren't going to happen because you have to cater to your children. And it's like he's repeating the very same cycle that our dad did. My dad had a child he didn't know about for like 12 years. And I guess it wasn't his fault, but at the same time, you laid down with a woman raw and you had a child. He had another child from a different marriage, okay. And then he had us. And then he divorced my mother. I guess he cheated on her, but he divorced her. And he sort of like secretly had like another family, not like a one he didn't have like a child, but he sort of like, I don't want to say replaced us, but he had like another woman and her kid in the house. So it's like, I told myself when I was 14 that I would never do that at all. I'm at the point where I don't want children at all. Everything I'm experiencing, but excuse me. I just told myself that I'm not going to repeat that same cycle. And what is my brother doing? Repeating the cycle by having a child. And, he's not married. And I don't blame him for why he's not married, because marriage was not modeled in front of us. Even though I don't really consider them my siblings, my half siblings, they were not married when they had kids because they have never had marriage modeled in front of them. They are either, my half brother isn't married and my half sister, I think she's married, but she was married like nearly 5 years after she had her child. The marriage was not modeled in front of us. I don't know what love is to get married. This is why I'm practicing, abstinence and celibacy, because it's a lot of things I've done I'm not proud of. And I have a more clearer mind, if you could tell. But I don't know, man. It's just, how do you feel about your son having a child out of wedlock? After I even said that that's a problem. And we got into an argument about that. And then he has a child out of wedlock and you find out about it. But the reason why I think it's more of an issue because the woman isn't black, I just think, and I told somebody this at work, the person you have children with should should meet the same image as your father or your mother. It's like a woman will have a child with a man who is in the image of her father. White man if she's white, black man if he's black. But in today's time, everything is, I want to marry I want to marry a white woman. I want to marry an Asian woman. And that is based off of the fact that most of the time, and I don't blame them, they don't really like their mothers because they were raised in pretty tough households. They don't like how their mothers raised them. So yeah, they go after white women and Asian women. But where they mess up at is this white woman or this Asian woman wouldn't give you the time of day if you were just a regular 9-to-5 black dude. But that's all about status and, the hierarchy in relationships. But yeah, it's a big deal that he has a child from someone that is not black. It is a big deal because, if I had a daughter, which I don't want, but if I had a daughter and she had a child from a white man, I would ask, what did I do wrong? Because let me just say this. Is it that she doesn't like me? She would go after someone that reminds her of her father. Vice versa. A man will go after a woman that reminds someone of their mother. Interracial dating, a lot of the times, is based off of bad experiences or hatred of your own women or men in your race. So you go after another race thinking that is a lot greener on the other side, but sometimes it can really bite you in the butt.